Breaking news, police are investigating a shooting in South Fargo. Officers were called to a parking lot in the 4500 block of 16th Avenue South right around midnight and found out that an injured woman had already been taken to the hospital by a friend. There's no word yet on the extent of her injuries, and so far, no arrests have been made. Local downtown Fargo businesses were damaged and looted during Saturday night's riot. But now that the dust has settled, the community is coming together, rallying to clean up the area and move forward. Giving us a live look at the downtown area this morning, we check in with the Valley Today's Abby Furchner. Good morning, Abby.
Good morning, Lisa. Even though it is much quieter here this morning, things are looking a lot different than they did before Saturday night. I'm sitting in front of the Hodo right now, and as you can see, the windows are completely boarded up, not only on the front, but I want to take you around the side here too, and you can see that the windows were busted out on the side of the building as well, and they have been boarded up. And Vinyl Taco and JL Beers across the street is looking really similar. You can see that they have those longer boards boarded up where the windows were after they were broken into and looted to on Saturday. And then just going down the street, we're here at 5th Street North, right across from Gate City Bank. You can see where that black paint is over what was explicit language written on the wall. They just were not able to scrub it off at that time. And then just coming in the middle of the intersection, I mean, you can see all those black markings. This is where that fire took place, that dumpster fire that was lit here on Saturday night. You can see the remains still, the aftermath of that. But I want to remind people that this was a peaceful protest all day, and many of us were seeing a breakthrough as the march continued to the Fargo Police Department until that evening. But I want to show you some photos captured by Colby Warzacue showing protesters and Fargo police talking and coming together. The photos show Fargo police standing and holding signs that say "One race, the human race," and justice for George Floyd. And even after Saturday night's events, Chief David Todd said during the press conference on Sunday morning that in the midst of it all, he still saw very good people associated with this event who were trying to stop what was happening, and he personally thanked them and said that he thinks they stopped some injuries to our officers too. I also talked with President and CEO of the Downtown Community Partnership, Melissa Brandt, and she says that the communication was just incredible here. And when they got here at 7 a.m., the community was already out here cleaning up, and everything was pretty much cleaned up until 9 a.m. So definitely a community coming together in a time of need.
Abby, it's heartbreaking to see the windows boarded up, but also heartwarming to know that the community came together to do the cleanup. Thank you so much for that live report. Let's get a check now of that First Alert Storm Team forecast, 7 minutes before 7. And Lisa, we're heating things up for this first day of June.
That's right. Today is the day you're going to want to get this cranked through your fans, your air conditioning if you haven't had that running just yet, because we do have that summertime heat building in on the first day of what we call meteorological or climatological summer. June 1st is when we observe that, because we feel that summertime heat starting around this time. Of course, the solstice a little later in the month on the 20th, but we're looking at a high today fitting for that change of the calendar of 90 degrees here in Fargo and in other places in the valley. It's going to be a warm one, a good day to take a dip in the backyard pool or into the air conditioner too, or rather into the sprinklers in your backyard too, or into the air conditioning inside your home. That's good as well. So looking off to the east on our Grand Forks Skycam, our home of economy Skycam, you can see there's some unsettled weather happening. We've got some storms in the vicinity this morning leading up to our heat that's going to build in. And look at our temperatures right now, 67 in Fargo, it's 65 in Grand Forks. You can see we do have, of course, the clouds that are being reported at the airport in our view. And here's a look at those storms. So we've got a good downpour going on in some places. One in northern parts of Grand Forks County, the town of Grand Forks, right on the edge of the rain here associated with this. This arcs over into Marshall County, the New Fulton area, up into northwest Minnesota, and then back down toward the Bemidji area even. So there's a nice line of downpours and lightning. A little farther south, Wahpeton, Breckenridge, we've got one isolated isolated lone storm that's been holding steady and in fact has been growing a bit as it's moving eastward. So along Highway 210 there, you're going to see this storm move through the Fergus Falls area and beyond as it continues on. Could be some small hail with these as they roll off to the east, you can see here, but generally speaking, we're looking at lightning and thunder and heavy rain with these. Our afternoon planner, this clears out. We're looking at sunshine and temperatures that are going to be well into the 90s for a lot of places. And again, it's just a quick look at that hour-by-hour planner, those moving on and clearing out here for today. So looking pretty good. Time now for traffic. Let's check in with the Valley Today's Devin Fry with traffic on the move.
Thanks, Lisa. We're finishing up our morning drive for this hour on I-29. We are heading south. Now, we're approaching some road work here that might be affecting the morning drive a little bit. They're closing the leftmost lanes of both directions on I-29 and reducing the speed limit down to 40 miles an hour from 17th Avenue all the way up to 32nd Avenue. Now, what they're doing is they're installing more guardrails in the medians in this area. So, thankfully, it is going to leave 2 lanes open of travel. So you can see here on the southbound lane, things are moving along smoothly. They're a little bit congested over there in the northern side of things. Those lanes do tend to get a little bit more crowded throughout the morning drive, and so we expect that to kind of get more complex as it gets funneled down into 2 lanes there. And it looks like it is moving along smoothly. Just expect a little bit of a delay between the crowds, the reduced speeds, the only 2 lanes of traffic. Just expect some delays if you need I-29 today. We're going to keep checking out the roadways, but for now, for your traffic on the move, I'm Devin Fry.
It's now 4 minutes before 7. New this morning, one man is dead after a fiery crash in Wilkin County this morning. Sheriff's deputies responded to a call of a car on fire just before 2 this morning, about 4 miles north of Breckenridge. Officers arrived to find a 29-year-old man who was thrown from the vehicle during that crash. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. His identity has not yet been released. New this morning, a Cass County man is dead after rolling his four-wheeler. The crash happened yesterday afternoon on Highway 19 in Hunter. The North Dakota Highway Patrol says 20-year-old John Peterson was heading home when he lost control of his ATV, rolled, and was thrown off. The South Dakota National Guard is in Sioux Falls after riots broke out last night during a protest of the George Floyd killing in Minneapolis. Some people started throwing rocks at businesses and police officers outside a shopping mall. The mayor confirms there were people looting in that area. Police deployed tear gas to try and stop the violence. Sioux Falls is under a state of emergency until 7 this morning. The Minneapolis riots were tough enough, but now look at this. People had to scramble to get out of the way of an oil tanker that barreled into a crowd of peaceful protesters on the 35W bridge near downtown Minneapolis yesterday. Scary scene. The State Patrol said they knew of no injuries from the incident, but called it a disturbing action by the driver. 35-year-old Bogdan Verchiko was arrested on probable cause of assault, but it's not clear if the incident was intentional or accidental. Breaking news overnight. The fired Minneapolis police officer who is now charged with murder and manslaughter in the death of George Floyd was moved to 2 different detention facilities in the same day. In a late-night news conference, officials said Derek Chauvin ended up in a Department of Corrections facility in Oak Park Heights after being moved between 2 county jails within the Twin Cities. They say Chauvin had been moved partially due to COVID-19 concerns. A man is in jail after West Fargo police witnessed a car hit a protester during Saturday's march. 47-year-old Michael Griffin was arrested after police say he drove past a roadblock and accelerated toward a protester on Main Avenue. The protester was on the car for about 3 blocks, but luckily was not seriously hurt. Friends, co-workers, and law enforcement from around the region will gather in Grand Forks tomorrow for the funeral of 29-year-old Officer Cody Holte. Holte was killed last Wednesday when a man who was being served eviction papers opened fire on police. The funeral will be held at the Ralph Engelstad Arena. Visitation starts at 10 a.m., goes to noon. The funeral will follow at 1. If you can't go, you can watch it on KVLY. We're also going to be streaming it live at valleynewslive.com. Let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. Today's question: nearly 80% of women say this was one of their biggest regrets from high school. A popular guess. The answer, their hairstyle. I think I could agree with that. We don't get perms anymore. Or not very often, I guess, with a big thing like that. I did it. It's coming up on 7 o'clock this morning here on the Valley Today. We want to thank you for tuning in to watch our coverage, and we want to reassure you that we're working hard to make sure you're staying informed during this COVID-19 pandemic. You can do it several ways. ValleyNewsLive.com, our VNL News app, and also on our Valley News Live Facebook page. Have a